Could have gotten one more there, but you know, pretty good. How do you know if the RNG is good or bad? Well, so there's a couple different patterns that like that you can tell, like that you cannot go, like for example, this 2 apart, right? That set of blocks against the wall that are 2 apart, that's fine, right? So here. Whereas if they're 1 apart and against the wall, then you know that you just cannot get through that pattern without, like for example, oh actually not on that time, but like, let me get an example. Oh, actually, this is not a bad RNG start, right? But yeah, next time it shows up, I'll do a brief little tutorial on spotting good versus bad RNG. Although this is actually a pretty good RNG run so far. But basically, yeah, it's about looking at the different patterns. This is actually not a terrible run. Yeah. Actually, there's no examples of it here, the pattern. So here, I'll just do another run, and because yeah, that was actually a pretty good RNG run. Not, of course, perfect because there were a couple small things, but because if it was perfect RNG, then you know I would have gotten, you know, all. Okay, there's a perfect example of bad RNG. Actually, there's a couple. Let's see. Although, to be fair, this is still... There you go. That was actually a pretty good run. And actually, you can see clearly where all the bad RNG spots here. So this pattern right here, block, like 1 away from the wall, block, block. That right here, this right here, and there's another one right here. There is no way of getting, like this pattern right here means that there is no way of getting perfect, like you know, all apples, because either you go through it and you know you can go through it, but then you can't get this, or you could, like, you know, go through it, but then you know you end up into a block, or you could I don't know. Basically, the point being that you can't, like this pattern right here, and there was 2 of them, so it was technically bad RNG, even though I did still get a pretty high score, just purely because, you know, like that was it. That was the only bad RNG spots. Now 2 blocks on their own, not always bad though. Just like, you know, if they're outside of that, they are usually a bad sign. Usually you want your blocks to be a knight's distance away instead of 2 tiles away in a linear direction. But like, see here, I just went through it, but I can't get this now. Or I could have went through it, you know, like here, but then I would have missed this one, right? You either miss this one, or this one, and you can't get all 3. Which, you know, because like you have to go in one and out the other, right? You know, there's right, so you look at it, you have this, and you know, here, you basically, it's a little area with 3 entrances, here, here, and here. So you can either go in and come out the other, go in, come out the other, go in, but you always miss one of them. So that's basically how that works, and so that's at least like a surefire way to know that a run cannot be completed. There's also, like, you know, much more complicated patterns that I don't really understand. Usually it has to do with, like, you know... Oh, also 3 in the 3 with then blocked, and I'll see if I can find an example of that, because that's another thing that can happen. Although usually that gets resolved by another block getting placed down, but essentially it's the same concept of like, you know, you have 3 entrances and like I'll try and see if I can spot one. Well, okay, so this is another one. Actually, this little triangle here is also another example because, well, you go in and, you know, you can either go in here, or actually, no, actually, never mind, you can go like this. Actually, you can do a little loop. So never mind, actually, that one's fine. This, yeah, that seems fine. This right here, I think, no, I guess you could go like that, yeah. I mean, you know, in that particular case, it was bad, but... And you also kind of get an instinct for it, like after you've played like a bunch of games, you kind of just build up like an instinct for, you know, what's going to cause problems in the late game. Like, see there, that's another thing. In fact, this RNG is like awful because there's a lot of adjacent blocks. Yeah, that's fine. I don't actually care that I died there because, you know, bad RNG. Essentially, what you want is knight's distances. That's usually a safe bet. Anything that, you know, away from that, usually, like for example there, actually that might be possible to resolve, but actually I think that block that just spawned made it impossible. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, I don't know if that's comprehensive enough, but that's basically how the RNG works. And indeed there's actually there. Yeah. So basically, yeah, just noticing like different patterns like that. So that answers your question. And yeah, if I see an example of the other pattern. So there you go, there's, you know, one of those. So it's only one, so it's not too concerning. Yeah, this is a pretty bad pattern actually. Yeah.